equipment. And if they get better equipment, like the police department, the fire department will be better equipped to serve us and to protect us all. Secondly, we need to back our soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guard, and airmen, those who are from Plainfield, who are doing their utmost to defend our liberty and our freedom. We lost 16 men during the war in Vietnam, and we did not do a job of backing our men during that time. The survivors who came back, they were called Nazis, murderers, and baby killers. I think that word Nazi ought to be retired because it's just as bad as that other N-word, which of course I will not use. And in their memory and honor, I'll sing. They loved us so. Every day 100 ways they told us so. In honesty, in affection, they told us so. They loved us so. Every day in 100 ways they showed us so. With loyalty and bravery, they showed us so. They were our defenders, and they kept us free. They took it oath to guard us and fought for liberty. They loved us so, and we should know. For we love them so. And thirdly, we need to regulate Muhlenberg. I do not want an apartment complex at that site. We need a hospital, we need it badly, and we need it ASAP. And we're not talking about head colds or earaches. We're talking about many people's lives. Let's not forget that we're no less than 30 miles from ground zero. And on September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 of our people have been slaughtered like hogs in a pen. If another 9/11 attack occurs, we'll need that hospital. We need it badly. We need a hospital that's capable of a mission in serving us, all of the people at Plainfield and the surrounding towns too. And the sooner I can remember, the better off we all would be. Doing this up there.
Yes.
Yes, John. Yes.
Do you have anybody else for public comment?
Somebody got to do it. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Also, good evening to the esteemed members from the City of Plainfield in the audience. At this time, I'd like for the co-chairman of our newly formed organization, Pastor Maurice Lyles, to come up here and assist me. I make a statement. My name is Norman D. Muhammad, 317 Plainfield Avenue, 317 Richmond Street, Plainfield, New Jersey. That's a Freudian slip. I was thinking about the murder that happened on Plainfield Avenue. Unfortunately, it's lay heavily on my mind still today. Once again, my name is Norman D. Muhammad, 317 Richmond Street, Plainfield, New Jersey. I am the chairman of a newly formed organization here in the city of Plainfield. It is entitled the Plainfield Anti-Violence Coalition. This coalition has been formed as a result of the recent unfortunate killings here in the city of Plainfield. We believe that to be proactive is always better than to be reactive. Because oftentimes, when we come to a position of being reactive, it's too late. Unfortunately, somebody's already dead, hurt, maimed, families are shattered, communities damaged. So we came together collectively, me, myself, and other members of the community, with the support of some elected officials. Some are even council members that's among us, and we thank them for their support. And we came together to do what we could do as citizens and residents in the city of Plainfield, to be proactive, to contribute an effort to get ahead proactively of these recent killings and acts of violence here in the city of Plainfield. Recently, we had, as a result of every unfortunate killing in the city of Plainfield within the last 30 to 60 days, we responded immediately to the streets, to the scene of the killing with our presence, to offer words of support to the family and the community. We responded immediately to let the members of that community know, if nobody else cared, we care. We responded immediately to the sites of those killings to let people know that in the city of Plainfield, lives that oftentimes people overlook do matter. And we are concerned to make sure that these families in this community get the attention and the resources and the support they deserve. Unfortunately, after someone has been killed or hurt, the pain affects the community and the family as a whole. For the record, we not only just respond with our presence, we do outreach work to the best of our capabilities. We're not funded by any government body. We're self-funded at this time. We respond, we assist the victims, their families, with resources or direct them to available resources. Unfortunately, I think the majority of the victims recently, in the recent spate of killings, was unfortunately not available or not able, rather, to bury their deceased loved ones for one reason or another. But thank God there was a way and resources available so that these victims of senseless killings could be laid to rest. So I just want to say going forward that the Plainfield Anti-Violence Coalition is up and active here in the city of Plainfield. We're non-political. We don't take sides politically. Even though in the city of Plainfield that would be easy to do. Nevertheless, we do not. I want to thank Director Riley for his support in responding to the requests that we have made to the various council members. Councilwoman Rivers, Albert, Councilwoman Taylor,
Please finish up your comments.
and Brown. Yes. Can I get an extension? I've been coming up here for many years. I never asked for an extension before of 2 minutes. Council President.
We haven't granted any extensions this year to this point.
Well, thank you for your time. I think I'll go out and see if I can solve some of these unsolved murders. Thank you.
Whoa. I made a motion though. I put a motion on the floor
You have a
to give
second?
him some extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You've got 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, like TV and CSI, we can't solve crimes in 2 minutes. But I attempt to give forward some good advice that maybe that you would take into consideration. We're available to work with all members of the community, faith-based organizations, government, elected, unelected officials on the county, state, and federal and local level. For remaining time, I'd like to close out. Thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, I'm quite sure I'll see you again in regards to this subject, but the work continues. Thank you.
Question, before you go, sir, I want to ask, city administrator. In terms of the families, the 7 victims, is there anything that we can do? I'm thinking about, and I wanted to ask Director Riley, there is money or something for victims' burials or something? I'm not quite sure, but is that true? The county does something? Okay, so they go ahead and they talk to the families indicated, okay. How about Plainfield Action Services? The issue I'm concerned about is I've only gone to 1 funeral, but there have been 7. And one of the things that I know that the families are in need of certain kinds of supports. Is there anything that the city can do so that it is not just on this organization or any other group that wants to come together to help? Is there something that we could do? Plainfield Action Services, didn't they do those kinds of things?
They
Social
did.
services,
They did.
mental health services for the trauma victims?
They make referrals to other organizations that would address the mental health issues. They do not do any funding for burials. There was a time.
I asked that, but other issues,
but
social services.
They can help
I'm sorry.
them with other social services like those referrals. They can also help them with emergency food if they need food. They can also help them with emergency clothes if they need clothes.
Okay. So that
So,
was.
Councilman Taylor, please hold your questions. Let's hear from the public. When we're done with them, just hold your questions.
I wanted to refer in reference
We
to
will,
them.
we will.
No, there's not a question, I want them to hear this, because if they're gonna volunteer and do this work, they need to know where the services are in the city, which these people are entitled to, that they should be able to connect with or partner with.
I really don't want to get into locking horns with you. I'm sure they can stay for a few minutes while we finish public comments. Let's hear from everybody. We have 60 minutes.
Open the contact.
You will? Okay.
Go through your questions
No
and
problem.
comments.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maurice B. Lyles. I live at 744 St. Mary's Ave, Plainfield, New Jersey. Co-chairman of the Plainfield Anti-Violence Committee. My concern was one of them that Councilwoman Taylor brought up was about assisting the family. As we know, those families were very low income, distressed financially, so they had no means of really burying their loved one. The only direction that we had to put to them was what also the gentleman over here spoke about, the funding from Union County prosecutor's office that they did. My opinion is they live here, they're from here, they're born here, they're buried here. There ought to be some type of resources for them to partake in when they're not involved in something directly and they're murdered on the streets. So it ought to be some funding, some information that's dropped off to the families so that we don't have to come and do the work that actually the city should be doing. Not to say that people aren't doing the job, but there's more things that can be done to compensate the time that we're in. Every development can use enhancement. So no one is perfect. We all have work to do. As I already stressed, that I know it's not a police problem, it's not a church problem, it's not the council problem, but it's everybody's problem, because we're all here together. So let's try in the future to work together and solve some of these problems that's plaguing our streets. Because believe it or not, I don't think this is the end of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, lovely people.
Good evening.
Getting down 1095, you know the routine. I'm coming directly at one individual tonight, and that is you, Mr. Good. I remember when you ran and when you were elected, you promised you were going to do some things, and you said they were going to be good and done, because you know I'm a community-involved guy. 5 of these last 7 homicides has been on your watch in your area. I'm yet to see you at one family location, okay, which I've been, I'm yet to see you participate in any march or let these people on the fourth and fourth ward know who you are. If you're not gonna do your job and represent these people properly, and you're just in that chair for whatever reason, do me a favor. Resign so we can put somebody in that's concerned about these people. I don't live over there, but my heart is over there. But as long as my heart is over there, you're going to be there or you're going to be replaced. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm talking about, Barry. I've been to these people's homes, I've marched with them, I'm 72 years old. You're much younger than me, and if you're gonna be an elected official, do me a favor, do your job, okay? Or just say you can't cut it. Carl, as far as I'm concerned with you, you've been doing all you can. You've been doing the job of 10 men. But very, very respectful of the mayor coming by on John Street in a place that maybe he would never come by had it not been for a guy like you. But you had the care and the wherewithal to go by there and visit the people who are there, part of the fabric of the city. And the mayor said, he said, everybody, thank God he's got a guy like you, because you did your thing and you brought the mayor's wife back. I want to commend you. Now, Eric Watson, big-time fabric of the city. You're not going to replace him. He was a godsend here. What you need to do is put your heads together to realize how important he was and begin to try to formulate some kind of committees to replace this brother, because he gave his heart and he gave his life for the city. Do him and me a favor and show you respect. And that could be by trying to find out some kind of suggestions, or, you know what I'm saying, Barry? Or you get busy and make me know that Eric's passing was not in vain. I'm done.
Thank you.
Council President, may I respond to that, please? I insist on responding.
If you read our rules, they do allow, like if someone is
Yes.
criticized,
Yes.
they
I
can
have,
respond.
I have participated in at least 2 of the homegoing services for victims that have been killed. And I've also have been to 2 rallies, okay? Am I making any excuses? No, I'm not making any excuses. I am very visible. And as far as me just sitting around and doing nothing, I am approachable and I am visible and I am doing a great job, okay? I have been, one of the homegoings, my colleagues know that I was there, Councilwoman Taylor and Councilwoman Brown, okay? So, and I have been to 2 rallies as well, okay? I have an ailing mother, which I have been attending to her for about 4 months now. And I'm not using that as an excuse either, because I've been jumping around, okay? So, I don't agree with your statement. And Mr. Muhammad, if I may also say, one of the rallies which took place over, it was on a Sunday afternoon. I left church. I left church and came straight there, okay? And there is even a picture of me on one of the Plainfield websites. So gentlemen, I disagree with your statements on tonight, but hey, I know what I've been doing and I know where I've been. So Mr. Dunn, you know, I don't agree with you tonight.
Just show me some personal concern. That's all.
Mr. Dunn, please, you've made your comments.
Right.
Do we have any other?
I just want to make sure on the record that it is not received that I have not shown any concern. I've also sent cards, okay? I have brought cards to where I've gone. I've given my cards to people, letting them know if they need me, that I am available. So Mr. Dunn, I think, and I find your statement tonight out of line and incorrect. Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Salam Ismail. I'm the director of the National United Youth Council. I also serve in a number of other capacities as New Jersey Anti-Violence Coalition Chairman and also co-chair of the New Jersey Study Commission on Violence. And as of recent, I'm an advisor with the Plainfield Anti-Violence Coalition. William Cole, Aliga Perry, Barada Abdul Khalik, Willie Lee Major, Hakeem Young, Javon Green, Joshua Hospital. All 7 of these individuals, most of them I know, most of them I've talked to directly. I know the Anti-Violence Coalition had talked to the family and what have you, and offer their service and direct them to services. And of course, I've been talking to the prosecutor's office with the victim crime unit, but victim crime don't go far enough. They give you $5,000 to cover for a funeral. And at least 1 or 2 of the families had even more expenses when we're talking about the repast and other stuff. And of course, they put out money for that and other social services needs. So I'm glad that the business administration identified that additional services that in the future they can get. One of the things I want to recommend that this council, and I'm going to be saying this, I'm going to be working on the county level with the prosecutor's office on some things that I identified that needs to happen here and support, even with the local police department, on trying to eradicate this problem in a proactive manner. So I'm going to be doing my job on that level. But one of the things I would suggest to you, I think one of your council people had mentioned about the importance of community policing, which is very, very important. The president has spoken about as part of his nationwide initiative, which one of my groups is part of that. And it does 2 things. One of the most important things it does is brings the community and the police together to be a proactive unit that can prevent these senseless killings that's happening. And it also addresses some concerns that the community have with the police, and particularly these young people. We're going to be working on the ground. We're bringing some of my folks from Elizabeth that are specialty on dealing with intervention. We're going to go and be talking directly with some of the people in the problem areas, working with the Anti-Violence Coalition. And we're going to be doing these things to prevent this from happening. And yes, there's some talk of some retaliation. That's some of the things that we've been hearing out in the street. And I know that this town is very small, and right now this is beyond even my imagination. 7 murders and you're almost halfway through the year. So we're going to be doing whatever we can to help, to be an assistance. So I think that, whatever effort you can do to develop a plan to bring the community policing mechanism strong in Plainfield, that have a greater impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The place looked very, very nice. This is something I see that you guys have done here in this courthouse. And,
What is name and address?
As
Yeah, please give us your name and address. Thank you.
Reverend Zachariah Jackson, formerly Plainfield, New Jersey, 1321 Grand Avenue, Plainfield, New Jersey. Now I'm in Newark. I'm seeking to buy a new house here in Plainfield soon. I heard what the guy was saying about that they don't see some of the city council people at marches and things of that nature. That's why it's so important that when you see social media, because social media is grassroots, that you need to reach out to us. I just come from the convention down in Philadelphia, and most of the politicians come to me, and they look up. They say, where you're from? I say, I'm from Plainfield. And they look up and they see there are different politicians that I interview. I interviewed most of these people here. I got interviews of them years ago, 7, 8 years and things. And go, I mean, we do what we do in the social media that's different in the networks, is that we're able to do a documentary. We're able to take an interview from 3 minutes to 30 minutes. And whether people think it's important or not, it is important, because this stuff is live. When I take my video and take it, shoot to YouTube, then it goes to a thing called WorldTube. The whole world can see, the whole world. And this way it connects us all over the world. So it's very important that I guess what I'm saying to the politicians is that when you see us out here, we might not have the big, ABC or CBS signs or whatever the case would be, but it's important to come over and just have a talk with we're all out here trying to help heal the community. No one is paying us. We're all volunteers, basically. We get very little donations. So those that say that maybe you don't reach out, or the person don't do this right here, but you know, when you see us out there, just come on over and things of that nature. What we do, we make it personal. We like making a pie, but we put a homemade stuff in it. Say, where the news channel may get you and they interview you for 5 minutes, and they may put you on the news for 3 seconds, or maybe even 30 seconds at the most. But we would take an interview and we put you on, and people can look at you and see and learn and everything. I was fortunate enough the other day to be in New York. They celebrated our 350-year anniversary, and I was able to sit with Sharp James and Mayor Gibson. And for 2 hours we sit there, and they was just talking about the experiences being mayor. Gibson talks about as being first black mayor of Newark, and Sharp James talked about being the second. And just for 2 hours, and I put that on the internet and everything, and for the kids and for people to look at. And I guess what I'm saying here is that people learn from you. Young politicians, they learn from you. They ask me, they say, "What you want to be a politician?" Look on my YouTube site, and you can look at the politicians and stuff. I have some, even to your great mayor and things of that nature. I know people don't always agree with them and things, but I have him from years ago running, back in 2006, 2007, when he was trying and everything and stuff. He covered the Harvest Radio when I was on there. And we have all that. We have all that locked. So it's very important to just reach out to us. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I see nobody else coming to the microphone.